Geoffrey here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can simplify your relationship and identify the few root causes for a divorce and how you can avoid them. And trust me, it's not what you think. And if you want to empower yourself with the skills and the knowledge to improve your relationship by yourself, then you want to subscribe to this channel and click that bell button to be notified when I post new videos 5 days every single week. And you might know from many other coaches, other relationship gurus out there, that really the main causes of divorce and a relationship falling apart are things like infidelity. Maybe it's some money issues, that you have too many arguments, too many conflicts that you can't resolve, a lack of intimacy, you have unmet expectations, different priorities and interests, unresolvable conflicts, and so on. And all these factors and more are really the causes of divorce. Now, if you look at all these things, it can get quite confusing very, very quickly because there's just so many things you need to think about. So many things you seem like you need to fix. So I'm going to make it much simpler for you and narrow it down to the 1 to 5 things that you really need to pay attention to. And you can forget about these 100 things because all these 100 things are really caused by one of these 5 things. And the reason why I want to make it easy for you like this is for you to actually understand it. And once you can understand it, you can grasp it, then you can actually follow it and try to implement it into your own life. So I've worked with a lot of couples and I found that any relationship issues you can think of are really rooted in one of these 5 things. And to do that, I want to show you what I call the relationship pyramid. And if you've been following me for a while, you will know this very, very well. But the pyramid consists of 5 parts. And the base of this part, the foundations of this pyramid is really emotional safety and psychological safety. Then on top of that, you have mutual admiration. Then you have goal alignment, and then you have sexual passion. And all these 5 things, they really build on top of each other, meaning that you need the foundations first before you can build the next layer on top, and they all affect each other. And so, for example, when you look at psychological safety here, that's really the key to communication. And psychological safety simply means, can you be open enough to express all your thoughts, all your ideas, and actually use that openness to resolve some conflicts to improve your communication? Well, you can't do that if you struggle with number 1. Which is emotional safety, which is how you can stay calm and control not only your own emotions, but also your partner's emotions as well, and lead conversations in a way that never leads to arguments. Right? If you can't do that, if you can't control your emotions, if you can't control your partner's emotions, your partner's defenses, then there's no way you can create psychological safety because you're always going to be too mad, too angry, too emotional to create that open environment. And the same thing for admiration. If you can't resolve conflicts, if you're always having arguments, then it's really, really hard to admire someone. And same thing for goal alignment. If you don't admire each other because you have all these conflicts, then whenever you have divergent goals, whenever you have different goals, you will really struggle to come together because you're not going to come from a place of respect, from admiration, and consider your partner's point of view, but you're going to be quick to judge, you're going to be quick to reject their ideas as soon as they say it, as soon as you discover that their ideas are different. And then same thing finally for sexual passion. If you are struggling with all these conflicts, it gets really, really hard to keep being in the mood for sex and sexual passion and intimacy because all this baggage will really prevent you from doing that. And understand too that all these parts right here, all these 5 parts, will also affect all the other parts. And so let's say if you're having some sexual passion issues, that can actually create a lot of conflict that will destroy pillar number 1 and 2. If you have admiration issues, it's really hard for you to talk to each other and resolve conflicts because you don't admire each other. And that destroys, again, pillar number 1 and 2. And so on. So all these parts interconnect and they build on top of one another like that. So for example, when we talk about infidelity issues, that's really an issue with a lack of sexual intimacy in this current relationship. And so people tend to look at other relationships and other people to get that satisfaction, to get that sexual passion that they desire. This infidelity could be rooted in the lack of mutual admiration. It could be rooted in the fact that both of you cannot talk about your issues together, the issues that are causing the intimacy issues in the first place. And so your partner is really forced to look elsewhere. The same thing for if you're struggling with money or finance. It's not really the money or finance that is causing the issues here, but the fact that you can't communicate openly and calmly about it. That's the problem. So is the problem here with pillars number 1 and 2, not the money or finance itself. And same thing with constant arguing. If you're arguing constantly, that's really a problem with phase 1 here, which is emotional safety, or your ability to control your own emotions or to control your partner's emotions, to manage their emotions. Then when you talk about the lack of commitment in the relationship, that's the same thing. That's really the lack of admiration, the lack of respect, mutual respect and admiration you have. And because you don't have that respect and admiration, you will really struggle to find yourself being able to commit and your partner being able to commit to you. So any relationship issues you have are really rooted in one of these 5 things. So if you want more clarity on how this pyramid works and really how they come together, then you want to watch this video above my head, and that will give you better clarity on how all this stuff kind of works together. But if you're really confused and you want to really understand this 5-step system, this pyramid system, then you also want to get access to my 4-day training series where I talk about this in depth and understand how to build the foundations for this 5-step hierarchy that has really helped hundreds of couples up to this point. So if you want access to that, then you want to click the link in the description box below this video. So again, when you're finding that your relationship is really struggling and you're on the brink of divorce, what's really happening here is not the 100 things that a lot of people say, like the lack of intimacy and so on, but it's really that you haven't built this pyramid from the ground up. So most likely you're missing the key ingredient here, the foundation ingredient here, which is emotional safety and psychological safety. And so when a relationship is really struggling, the real problem is not whatever people are struggling with, like the money, the lack of intimacy and so on, but it's the hopelessness people feel when they realize that they have all these issues, but they can never really talk about it. They can never really express it or resolve it. And the reason why they can't resolve it is that they've learned over the years that whenever they express something, it's always going to end badly. So it's always going to end in some argument, some bickering. So rather than creating a stir, they would just keep it to themselves. And that makes people very hopeless and very overwhelmed. And that's what causes divorce. But the thing is that if you look at very healthy couples, very happy couples, they have the same problems. They have the same issues. But the main difference is that they can talk about their issues. They can resolve their issues. And so if you're finding that you're on a brink of divorce here, the first thing you need to do is to understand, how do I create this culture of emotional safety and psychological safety? How do I allow my partner and to create this environment for both of us? It's an environment where you can control your own emotions so that you can deal with the conflicts very calmly and very effectively, but also how you can lead conversation. So how you can begin a conversation, then progress the conversation and end the conversation in a way that never ever leads to arguments. And once you can do that, then you can start the emotional healing process. And you can slowly show your partner here that, hey, whatever gripes you have, whatever pains you have, you can express it. And once you can express it, we can actually start resolving it. But if your partner can't even express their emotions, then it will never be resolved. And that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of being overwhelmed, and just having nowhere to go in this relationship, and not seeing this relationship getting better anytime soon, remains. And when that remains, then you're always going to be in danger of divorce. But once you reinstill this hope by establishing emotional and psychological safety first, then you're going to revive that hope. You're going to give each other the sense that, okay, we might have some intense conflicts right now, but because we have this openness, because we have this avenue where we can express to each other and actually resolve some conflicts, and we also understand how to lead the conversation in a way that actually resolves some conflicts, then you can get somewhere. So really, if you learn how to build the right foundations for this pyramid here, and understand how to build all the pillars one by one, all 5, then you start to fix everything. All the intimacy issues, all the conflicts that you have when talking about money, the commitment issues, the lack of alignment on your goals, and so on, can really go away. But as long as one of these things are broken, one of these pillars are broken, then you're always going to be struggling. Because not only will that create all these problems, but it will also create some feedback loops and chain reactions to the other cycles that causes a lot more problems as well. So if you're on a brink of divorce right now, you want to look at this pyramid, and you want to start from the top. And you want to ask yourself, am I having some sexual passion issues? Do I have some intimacy issues? If the answer to that is yes, then you want to go one step further down and you want to ask yourself, do we align on our goals? Do we struggle to align on our goals? Do we want to go to 2 different directions in our life here and we can never reconcile that? And if that's the problem, then you want to go one step further and you want to say, do we honestly have some admiration issues? Do I actually genuinely respect and admire my partner? And do they admire and respect me? And if you don't think you have that, if you don't think you have admiration or respect, then you want to go one step further and say, is it because we really struggle to resolve conflicts? Can we even express our thoughts, ideas, and opinions freely without worrying that our partner will react badly to it in some way? And whenever we express ourselves, it will lead to something bad, like an argument. Then if that's your issue still, you can't communicate well like that, then you want to go one step deeper and say, do we have some emotional safety issues? Like, can I actually control my emotions? And can I manage my partner's emotions when they're actually really mad? And if you can't do that, then that's your root of the issue. So if you're trying to save your relationship from the brink of divorce here, what you need to do is focus on pillar number one, the foundations here, which is how do I create emotional and psychological safety? And how do I control my emotions better? And how can I help manage my partner's emotions better by understanding how to lead the conversation in a way that never really leads to arguments and never leads to my partner feeling very defensive and acting up and resisting. And so that's a whole big topic in itself. And it's impossible for me to just explain that in one YouTube video. So if you want more details on that, then you want to get access to my 4-day training series again. And this 4-day training series will really teach you some mindset shifts that you need to make when you're trying to fix your relationship. Because when you're trying to fix your relationship, it's not just about the technical stuff. It's not just about techniques and what to say, but usually it's all about mindset first. So once you have that mindset, then we'll teach you the exact steps you can take to manage your own emotions, to manage your partner's emotions, and really understand how to lead the conversation in a way that never leads to arguments. So if you want access to that training series, then you want to click the link in the description box below this video. And if you want a place where you can ask your questions about your relationship and actually get expert advice on it, then you also want to join our Facebook group where you can post your questions and you'll actually get expert advice on your issues, on your questions, and so on. And if you want to access that Facebook group, the link is also below this video. And leave a comment below. When you look at this relationship pyramid, where are you right now? And tell me what other questions you have about it. Share with me your questions, your concerns, your comments about it, and I'll try my best to respond to your comments or make a new video out of it to further clarify this point. So if you found this video helpful or valuable, then click the like button and subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. But for now, remember that you have the power to really transform your relationship by yourself. So even though your partner is not willing to work on the relationship right now, that's okay, because by changing your own behavior, you can really begin to break that negative cycle and start a more positive cycle by yourself. But in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.